Alright, so our next thing to model here is something that should be a little bit easier just because of its shape. It's just basically your rectangular box. This is the field radio, of course, for the Secret Mission to Spy Island set or the Sabotage set, whichever set that you want. Had the field radio and the headphones, one of the nice pieces, but this is a fairly simple model job as well, so I'm going to start out this next one and we'll model this. So as you can see here from my opening screen, here's some of the different parts that I've been modeling in the past few days, just to kind of get some different things in there to show you. Of course, I don't just do this for this, I also do different models for my class that I teach as well. So we'll go to a new part from the home screen. We'll get in here and I'm going to start a two-dimensional sketch. Again, I'm going to just do this on the XY plane. I've already, to just save us some time on the modeling, I've kind of already taken my measurements, so I don't have to do that. You don't have to see me sitting here fumble through. But the outside dimensions of this box is 1 3/4 by 2 1/8. So I'll go again. I'm going to go a 2-point rectangle, and I'll just pick the origin here as my point. So now this is going to be 2 1/8, which is 2.125. I'll hit the tab over, and this is going to be 1.75 there to enter in place. Now come up here to my view cube, hit the home button so I can kind of bring that in so you can see that. I'll finish this sketch out and I will extrude this. I'm going to actually extrude away from me and into the back of the screen, and this extrusion here is 0.725 is what that measured. So that's basically the outside dimensions of this box to get me in there. Now I also notice there's a little bit of a cutout here on the top, so it's kind of indented just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and I will start another sketch right here on the top of this. And I will project, actually, so I will go ahead and offset these, which doesn't want, so we'll just project that geometry, and then we will offset this. Just come in, eyeballing it, that's about a 1/16, so 0.06, we'll say 60 thousandths of an inch. Gives me that. Finish that off, and this is another extrusion here. Now, notice as I zoom in here, so it's going to highlight, and you can see highlights here, highlights there. So I want to pick that, zoom back out. Now in this case I want to go the other direction, but this distance here is only about maybe 30 thousandths of an inch, so about 1/32. So I will just go ahead and put that in there. That's good. So come back here, look at my model. I have these where it's recessed as well, so I'm going to do the same thing on that, just more or less drawing a couple of rectangles in here. So let me get those. So we'll start another two-dimensional sketch, and this is going to be the front. So, and in this case I can kind of just pick up on this edge. I measured these out earlier. These are about 1/8 of an inch, so 2 1/8 there. I'll hit tab, 0.125. Now, I have to dimensionally constrain that sketch, and that is going to be dimensioned down here to the bottom on this. And that measured 0.125, so that puts that there and that. Come back up here with one more. And this dimension here is actually 3/8, so 0.375. So let me enter that. So we will finish this sketch, do the same thing. That's going to be my extrusion there. Kind of turn it here at my isometric view so I can see that. Go back the other way. I'm going to do that at 30 thousandths as well. Click OK. Now I got to do the same thing on both sides. So I can come back in here. So in this case, draw my rectangle from here to here. We'll bring that in. So 375 on this one. So, all right. Extrude that same way, 30 thousandths. Go ahead and get it in. And my viewed cube, I'm going to rotate around because I'm going to go back and do the same thing on here. Now in this case, I find it easier just to go ahead and draw using the rectangle, but I could also use the modify tool and more or less kind of mirror this over from one side to the other. In this case, this usually works best. Now if you look real carefully here, here's a mistake I made. Didn't quite pick up on that corner, so if I go to extrude that won't work out. So I'm going to undo this and come back and make sure that I pick up on this corner point right here. So making sure that I've got that. There we go. Now I can zoom out. Sometimes making sure it picks up on the points that you want it to pick up on are important. Extrude this, going back the same way, and there's my part of my ammo box so far. Now, again, as I look at this, I also have this cross area, so I need to kind of come back in and put some drawings on here for this. So start another sketch right here. Now in this case, this sketch is going to be a little bit different. My mouse is messing up on me here, so might be time to get a new one since the roller ball doesn't want to work correctly. So start my sketch on this surface, and one more time with the rectangle. So kind of coming from here over. This is going to be 1/8 of an inch as well, and I'm going to dimensionally constrain that from here to there. That's 1/8 as well. So get that in there. Okay. And I have that circle here. I didn't measure that, but it is kind of on the midpoint here at this line. Let me just real quick take that measurement on this part. So it's not too terrible big, but it is there, and I want to make sure that it's kind of in there too. That measures 330 thousandths, or 0.330, and I'm already on the midpoint, but I still need to dimensionally constrain it. I'll constrain it to the bottom down here. When I measured that was 1.125, or 1 1/8, so that drops that down in place there. So get out of that. So, and the actual top of the lid, the top of the lid is a little bit bigger from that, and that measures roughly 350 thousandths. So at this point, I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to go from here to there, dimensionally constrain that to the top side. So that was 350 thousandths, so that moves that line in place. Now, looking at this now, I have a line that kind of goes up center, and I'm going to just kind of fake this in as I do this diagonal line. There are several different ways that this can be done, but this goes from here up into, I'm just going to put it right there like that. So, and I'll do the same thing here. Now I'm going to pick up on this side. I'm going to go from here over. So we'll kind of put some dimensions in these to constrain those. So, and I'll go from here over to there, and I'll go from here over to there, making sure that those lines are parallel. So That gives me some rough dimensions there on that too. Dimensionally constrain these. So notice that comes out at 0.105 on that. Actually, I think that's good. We're going to leave that at 0.1. And I'm going to do the same thing on this other one here too. That one comes out to 0.105. 0.1. We'll keep that at 0.1 as well. That way we've got those kind of in there. Now, coming through, if you recall, before I had mentioned that we have to have closed, basically a closed feature on here. So right now this isn't closed because we've got some lines still going. But so let me start out by trimming some things here so we can kind of get this closed as we go. Kind of clear out these. That gives me that part of the circle. Oh, notice here we're coming in where we got a little bit of the crisscross action going on here. So all of that's going to be junk that we don't need, that'll mess up when we go to extrude it. So I want to clear that out and get rid of that. Now back over here, now I kind of have to connect these lines. So I'm going to make sure that all of these are connected. Okay. You can tell because you will have a green line going. Oh, you'll know first thing when you go to try to extrude it, because Inventor won't pick up on it. It won't let you do that. Alright, so that is that. So, alright. So, let me finish this off. Actually, I'm going to put two lines because on mine, I'm going to kind of come in right from here to there. Just did a little 90-degree line. Zoom in a little bit more. There you go. And we'll do the same thing over here. There we go. Escape out of that. We'll trim this. We want to get rid of that. Like I said, we want to have this all as one closed off feature. So that should give me my entire closed off feature now, hopefully, if I've got everything taken care of. So we'll finish that sketch. Go back to extrude. Alright, there we go. Let me get the isometric up on here. That works, except I want to go the other way with it again. So, and hit OK. There you go. Now we're starting to kind of see this take its place just a little bit. So, kind of starting to look a little bit like our ammo box here. So as I go, except I need a little bit more on that lid, so I'm going to add another rectangle. So we'll start a 2D sketch right up here. Oh, another rectangle up here, and if you recall, I think I said that that was 3/8, so 2 1/8 by 0.375, 3/8 kind of comes into that a little bit. We'll finish that sketch. Let me extrude it. This time I am going to come out just a little bit. Okay. And this is all for my top, so I'm going to do the same thing here on this side. Another rectangle coming from here over. And this is going to be 3/8 as well. So, there we go. Finish that sketch. We'll extrude that out by 30 thousandths. And not to be undone, let me rotate this part around. Do the same thing over on this side. Yep, I definitely need to get a new mouse so it stops picking that up. Go. Okay. Finish that off. Extrude this part. There we go. We're starting to look pretty good here for what we got. Now, the last part here is I need these little, see there's these little belt buckles that kind of clasps, so to say. So I'm going to put this in, edit this sketch, come on in with a new sketch here. I'm going to create a rectangle first, so, and I'll just create this in here with that. We'll see how I kind of do this, and let me measure these real quick. So this measures, in this case, 230, so we'll make it almost 1/4 of an inch by 3/8, really. Alright, so 0.25 by 0.375 going that way. So drops that down. Now that's, yeah, that's definitely too big. So I'm going to come back up here now. Let me escape out of this. We're going to change this to 0.25. I don't like the way that looks. So I'll get that in there like that. And then I'm going to create an arc. So at this point, I want a 3-point arc. So that arc's going to go from here to there and be 1/8 of an inch. So there we go. That is going to give me that feature. But now I want this to be dimensioned over here on the side. So from here to there, I'm going to dimension that. And I'm going to make that 3/16 of an inch. So we'll go 3 divided by 16. That moves it over. That's what I like. Let me escape out of here. I need to get rid of this line now, so I'll just delete that out of there. So now I have that whole thing in. And remember I said before there's the mirror command as far as your modify tool. So I'm going to go in and create a construction line here. So right here at my midpoint, and I'm going to go down. So that comes in as a blue dotted line. That's a construction line here. And now I'm going to mirror this. So I'll use that mirror, select everything here that I want to mirror. So, and notice how that's picking up. I don't want that for a second. So let me get out of here for just a second. Let me delete this just to make sure. There you go. Now I got that green. So that blue line was kind of off. So come back, mirror this. So these are the features that I want to mirror. My mirror line is my construction line that I just drew. Hit apply, and there it goes. Now I have that in both spots, so I can finish that out. Come back here, so you can kind of see how we're drawn on that. And in this case, we will extrude that going back. So, and I select this and that. We're going to go back to, this is a join. We'll go ahead and connect that. I'm going to go to next. So hit OK. So that gets that in there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw on this surface, but I'm going to make what looks like those buckles. So I'm going to go ahead and start another two-dimensional sketch here. And again, while I could go ahead with the mirror on this, I think this is another one of those cases where it'll just be easier for me to kind of put this in. I'm going to make this 1/4 by 1/4 on here. So, and I'll pick up over here, make this 1/4 by 1/4 this way as well. Now I'm going to offset this, and that looks to be roughly about 50 thousandths of an inch, 0.05. So, and I'll offset this one here, the same thing, 0.05 50 thousandths. So that's that sketch. Come back in now, pick up that extrusion, and that extrusion, and this, yeah, that's not even really 30 thousandths. I'd say that's more like 15, just to give me that belt buckle look. So, all right, there you go. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Oh, as I look this over, yeah, I think looking that over, it looks like this is cut out here on that side too. So I'm gonna come back and take care of that too. Come back over here. Again, this is pretty simple. Pick up on your rectangle, get those points, whatever that is. I will highlight that, so 220. Kinda. There we go. Finish that off. Gonna extrude that. And this one was 30 thousandths. Got that out. Rotate around over here. I'm gonna cut, draw, and sketch on this side. Do the same thing. The rectangle here. There we go. Finish that off. Extrude that going the other way as well. There we go. There's my little ammo box. So, bring that in. Just change this material up here to ABS plastic. And I want this to be a dark green. So, kind of go through here, dark sea green. Let's see. Not bad, but I think there's a better color, dark forest green. There we go. That's more like it, that dark forest green. And we'll go ahead and save this. So file, save as. We'll name this. Yep, let me navigate through to where I'm storing it on this computer. Here under my G.I. Joe parts. So this will be Sabotage. Save that as Sabotage Field Radio. There we go. And save it. There we go. Now, the one thing when we go to 3D print this, you'll notice this is going to be 3D printed as a solid. So it won't have that same feature that the original had as far as the lid, the way I drew this up. Now, in order to do this, of course, you would have to create two drawings, one for the lid, one for the box. Of course, you could draw something else for the little telegraph operation and the headphones as well, there to get all of that in there. So you would need individual parts for all of those, and then you would use and do an assembly drawing and print each of those out individually so that you could get that taken care of. But for right now, I just wanted to kind of show you and demonstrate here how you could draw up this Sabotage field radio and get that modeled correctly. So, as always, thank you for watching. If you have anything that you would like to see modeled, please go ahead and respond down below in the comments section, or send me an email, private message. I'll be glad to take a look at it and consider doing a video on how to model that. So, have a great day.